Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Take 5. It is day number 2 of a brand new year, and we are breaking down the subject that I preached Sunday that we entitled Why Things Go Bad. I believe that when we can identify why things go bad, I think it will help us then to make the proper adjustments that we need to make in our lives so that we can learn the lesson and get the good out of that bad that happens, because that's what God ultimately intends, is that when bad things happen, it's always used to bring something about good in our life. Now, we named the first one yesterday. Sometimes the reason things go bad is because we have a spiritual enemy. We know that's the devil, and he's our adversary. Number 2, this one might be a little uncomfortable. Sometimes things go bad because we have a physical enemy. That's right. I'm actually talking about people that may work against us sometimes. And when that happens, it can cause things to go bad in our life. And as sad as it seems, life in itself brings to us the fact that we have people that sometimes seek our demise and don't want us to succeed, but they want us to fail. And in some cases, their hatred for you can be so vehement that they wish you to die. Now, that's what hatred really is all about. It's not this loose term that we throw around, I hate rutabagas, or I hate this, or I hate that. That's so watered down. Real hate has behind it the desire to see someone fail, to see them fall, and ultimately for their demise. You despise them so much. That's what real hate is. And I shared with you Sunday, in my lifetime, I can only recollect that I've been hated like that by 2 people. And God was with us, and He delivered me and my family and my church on both occasions. And so that don't happen all the time, that idea of true hate, but it is out there. But very often you'll find people that will be your enemy. If it's nothing more than defamation of your character, ruining your name, when people work against you, so that you don't get the job, or you don't get the promotion, or they work against you in another corporate manner, or in your church, or in your family, or something of that sort. Sometimes things happen to us that are not comfortable because of the presence of a physical enemy, because of someone that's actually working contrary to our lives. I don't want you to think that this idea is far-fetched, that I'm just looking for negative things in people. The church has faced persecution at the hands of people ever since its conception 2,000 years ago. And if you want to go back even further than that, all the way back to Cain and Abel, you can see the existence of physical enemies. So sometimes we can't escape the fact that bad things happen in our life because we have physical enemies. David was one that knew about that better than any other. He dealt with many enemies in his life, but one of the main ones was King Saul, who despised him because the favor of God was on him. 1 Samuel chapter 18 said that Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and Saul became David's enemy continually. Now, Saul worked against David from the beginning until the very end. And if David had not been faithful and had the right attitude and trusted God and stood still and let God fight for him, Saul would have really brought harm into David's life. But eventually, God did deliver him completely. For 15 years, David had to watch Saul sit on the throne that rightfully belonged to him. All the while he was running and ducking and dodging the attacks of this backslidden king who had become his mortal enemy. He retained the right attitude. Even when he could have killed Saul on several occasions, he retained the right attitude and let God fight his battles. And then David recorded these words in 2 Samuel 22. He said, David spoke to the Lord the words of this song on the day that the Lord delivered him from the hand of all of his enemies and from the hand of Saul. He said, I will call upon the Lord who's worthy to be praised, and so shall I be saved from my enemies. He delivered me from my strong enemy, from those who hated me, for they were too strong for me. That's why you've got to let God fight your battles when it comes to dealing with physical enemies, because if you try to do it on your own, they'll overwhelm you. David said, they confronted me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my support. They tried to kick me when I was down, but the Lord was there for me. When you really desire to fulfill God's purpose and will for your life, there's always going to be an adversary somewhere that's trying to stop what God is doing in and through you. David knew it. David experienced it. You can come all the way into the New Testament and you can see Paul experiencing it as well. He wrote to the Corinthians while he was in Ephesus and said, I'm going to stay here at Ephesus until Pentecost, which is like late spring. And I'm going to stay here because a great door for effective work has been opened to me, but there are many that oppose me. He said, I've got many enemies here, but I'm going to stay because of the open door of ministry. That's why you stay. That's why you keep your head down and you move forward and you trust God and you remain faithful and you stay obedient. That's why you do it, because of the work, because of the call, because of the purpose that God has for your life wherever you are. If it's in the corporate office, if it's in the plant, wherever you work, if it's in the church that you serve in, that's why you do it, because of the purpose that God has there for you. You focus on the purpose. You don't worry about the enemy. And when you do that, God will stand for you and deliver you. When bad things happen in life because of physical enemies, the only right thing to do, according to Jesus in Matthew 5, is to love them and bless them and pray for them. And that is not what we want to do, is it? I'm telling you, I'm testifying about myself. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to love them and bless them and pray for them. You want to pinch them and hit them and bite them and skin them and all of this kind of stuff. That's what you want to do. But when you stand firm, and you depend on God, He will fight for you. And when He fights for you, things will go well and will go according to His plan. I'll leave you with this from Deuteronomy 20. God said, Hear, O Israel, today you're on the verge of battle with your enemies. Don't let your heart be afraid. Do not tremble or be terrified, for the Lord your God is with you to fight for you against your enemies. If you'll do things God's way and just stand still and trust Him and keep the right attitude, God will be an enemy to your enemies. Well, hey, I've got to get out of here. It's been good being with you today. Look forward to being with you tomorrow on Wednesday's edition of Take 5. Till then, God bless you. Have a great day. Hey, trust the Lord, friend. He will never fail you.